Closing inventory. Along the Upper Spoon River, 1935. When they found him at last, he was face down in a pool of milk out behind the barn, an empty tin pail against his boot. They summoned the doc, who declared him dead. Then they laid him out in the bed of the truck and carried him back to the funeral home. The following day they returned to the house where none of them had been for years, intending as well as they could to put his affairs in order, collect his receipts and documents, and close his accounts. Upstairs at the back they found his bed as neatly arranged as if he were still a married man, although he had been a widower now for some 30 years. A plain wooden cross was hung on the wall beside a window that looked out across a 1/4 acre of derelict trucks and discarded implements choked in vines. On his wife's dressing table, undisturbed apparently since the day she had died, a brush and mirror, a porcelain vase, a photograph of her younger self in a marquetry frame. The men stood silent, taking it in, then solemnly descended the stair to his office in what must have been the parlor once. A roll-top desk, a clamshell lamp and a telephone, red-cornered ledgers, a spindled stack of bills and receipts. A horsehide chair was positioned beside a bookcase filled with old tractor manuals, several shelves of history, Bibles, household hints, hymnals and westerns, seed catalogs, and the odd issue of Breeder's Gazette. And on every hand the desultory detritus of an aging man's life, a half-empty tin of horse liniment, a box of shells, a pouch of old whale, a jar of assorted matches and nails. One of the men bound up the ledgers, another removed some folders from the file cabinet. The rest of the men moved down the hall to the kitchen where, beside the sink, the remains of egg and toast on a plate, a coffee-stained mug, a folded page of the Stark County News, an old regulator clock on the wall emitting a steady tick-tock as it had for years, a window propped up with a butter knife, and curtains that seemed to rise and fall of their own accord. The men filed out by 2s and 3s to stand on the porch for a cigarette before making their way across the yard to the barn to feed and water the stock. And then it was late, and however much remained to be done, it was time to leave. After the dust of their truck had drifted across the field, the house became mute as a mausoleum, shadowed and shut against the world and even against the passage of time itself, except in the kitchen where the window still stood open to the evening sky, allowing a touch of damp from the fields and the faint, uncertain scent of rain.